I have a interesting topic for everyone today. Today, I want to talk about how these two quarterbacks performed under pressure. So I'm going to hold Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts. Like I said, guys, I want to incorporate more Jalen Hurts since we don't know the quarterback situation. I want to incorporate these two together and then talk about how they fared under pressure. I'm going to measure this by on-target throws compared to passing attempts, guys. I'm going to tell you where they stacked up against the league, what their performance was, and what some of the guys that are coming in and the coaching staff did with their guys, because I think that's an interesting aspect. All right, y'all, let's get it. What's up, Eagles Nation? What's going on, NFL world? How you doing, division rivals? This is Steven Hyder with Gate City Sports Channel, the sports channel where the cerebral NFL fan comes for about 10 minutes of daily content. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever it is you get around to watching this. Once again, guys, my name is Steven Hyder, and this is Gate City Sports Channel. All right, guys, today's topic. Like I said, guys, we're talking pressure rate. A lot of you guys have asked me previously if I could look up things like, how many interceptions occurred on man coverage versus zone coverage, right? How many, tell us about pressure rates. Like, how do these guys perform against blitzes and just generalized pressure in their face? Well, today, guys, is the day that we're going to talk about all that. Pressure-wise, okay? I got another video coming up on motion, pre-snap motion. I got a video coming up about zone versus man and how these guys performed. There's a lot of other videos coming up, guys. But today, we're talking about pressure rate. I want to talk about how these guys perform compared to the rest of the league with pressure in their face, right? And then we can kind of end this all by discussing how the system can change things, right? Because let's be real. Yes, individualized like performance by the quarterback, it matters, guys, no doubt about it. But also your scheme matters, your offensive line matters, certain techniques matter. Like, are you going 5 to 7 steps, 3 to 5 steps? Like, what are the dropbacks when these things are occurring? The pressure's in your face. How is that team developing that, and what's the talent around you on the outside, right? Let's be honest. The better the talent is around you, the better it is to look against pressure. That's just a universal, guys, that if you got a Kelsey, if you got a Tariq Hill, right, you got these type of targets out there for you as a quarterback. I'm using Mahomes because, of course, he's ranked pretty high on this, guys, but it's going to make you look good, right? So I think that's got to be factored in. But we'll do all that and tie it up in the conclusion. But for now, guys, let's get into the hard physical data of this advanced analytics stat about pressure rate and quarterback performance from the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's get it. To begin with, if you want to know who the top 5 quarterbacks were when it comes to making on-target throws versus pressure rates, it's pretty simple. Justin Herbert was the number 1 quarterback in the league. Justin Herbert absolutely lit it up against pressure last year. Like, Justin Herbert's a pretty impressive rookie guy. Well, he had a pretty impressive rookie year, I should say. 138 on-target throws versus 205 passing attempts. That's a 67.32% on-target to attempt rate. It's phenomenal, guys. 13 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He burnt teams that brought pressure in his face. 1,474 yards. Justin Herbert really lit the league up here. Josh Allen. Josh Allen he threw 120 on-target throws compared to 200 passing attempts, which worked out to be exactly 60%, 6% kind of ratio between on-target throws to the attempts that he's taken. 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, very good numbers. 1,367 yards. Josh Allen's not a surprise, man. He's got, Stephon Diggs out there and guys that can really make plays for him. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is kind of an underrated quarterback, guys. I know people love to hate on Kirk Cousins, but, man, the advanced analytics on Kirk Cousins shows a guy that, man, either he's really benefiting from the talent around him or he's playing a lot better than people think. I mean, there could be arguments made on both sides of that, so I'll kind of leave it at as it is, but he's pretty high on most of these statistics, guys. Kirk Cousins, 118 on-target throws, 184 passing attempts. That works out for a 64% ratio. It's really high, guys. Like, he does really well when people bring pressure against him. 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,290 yards. Obviously, having, guys like Adam Thielen, having Justin Jefferson, like, that helps, right? That's going to help you because, you can burn people with your outside playmakers, and they got a fairly decent offensive line. I won't call it great, but it's pretty decent. Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was number 4, guys. Matt Ryan, 117 on-target throws against 204 attempts. That worked his way out for a 57.35 on-target to attempt percentage. 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Probably not the greatest numbers, especially given the talent around Matt Ryan, but that team does face a lot of injuries, and it's had a lot of issues going on with it. 1,370 yards. Number 5, guys. Number 5 is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' numbers, 112 on-target throws against 193 attempts, which works out to a on-target throw to attempt ratio of 58%. All right, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He burns you if you come for him with pressure. We've all known this about Patrick Mahomes. 1,190 yards. So those are, I'm giving you these numbers so we can compare what's going on with like Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts, guys, because we need those numbers to know, to distinguish like what is good from what is bad, right? So Carson Wentz finished 21st in the league against pressure. Here's how he ranked out, guys, his numbers. 63 on-target throws against 140 attempts. That works out to a on-target to attempt ratio of 45%. Let's be honest, Carson Wentz should be better than that, guys. Like, some of this has to do with our line. There's no doubt about it. Some of it has to do with our playmakers on the outside and stuff like that. But some of this is on the quarterbacks too, both Wentz and Hurts. 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Very disappointed with that, guys. I know you guys are too. 550 yards. Number 40, Jalen Hurts. 24 of 55, so 24 on-target throws to 55 attempts. Which works its way out to an on-target to attempt ratio of 43.63%. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 369 yards. Obviously, guys, this is not like earth-shattering stats here. These are nothing to write home about, but Jalen Hurts is a rookie, so let's keep that in mind. What I would love to point out, though, is on pressure. When people brought pressure, all of 50 out of 50 of Carson Wentz sacks were results of pressure being in his face. 12 out of 13 of Jalen Hurts sacks were a result of pressure being in his face. Okay? Guys, it's bad because as you shake this down, some other things I want to show you guys about pressure and where these guys ranked was when you went back to 5 to 7 yard drop. So 5 to 7 yard drop. Okay? 5 to 7 step, I should say, drop. All right? Remember, Carson Wentz had 140 attempts on the season, 55 for Jalen Hurts with pressure in their face. When it comes to 5 to 7 yard drops, he had 39 out of his 140 attempts were from a 5 to 7 yard drop. 14 on-target throws for a 35.89% on-target rate. I will say that I guess you could say it was kind of effective because he suffered only 11 of those 50 sacks from a 5 to 7 drop back rate. But if you look at the 11 sacks compared to the 39 attempts, yeah, I'm going to say that's a pretty high ratio, guys. He didn't throw any interceptions from that. You look at Jalen Hurts. He had 13 attempts from a 5 to 7, drop. He had 55 total in the year in terms of pressure in his face, 13 of those coming from a 5 to 7 yard drop, or step drop. 5 out of 13, so 5 on-target throws. Works out to a 38.46 ratio, so on-target to attempt ratio is 38.46. 1 interception, 1 sack. So he was pretty good. If you gave him space and distance, I think it was a lot harder to get to Jalen Hurts because he could use his athleticism. Guys, this is hard to explain, right? Because some of this has to do with system and scheme. And that's what I want to get into. I want to go into the next part of the concluding thoughts here. I want to talk about the coaches we brought in, how they structure their guys, and how this differs from Doug Peterson and what to expect. Like, are these numbers going to teeter towards like a way better outcome for us? All right, guys. Here are my concluding thoughts on this, okay? Justin Herbert was number 1 in the league. Number 1. Now, some of this could be just individual talent of the player. There's no doubt about it. But scheme matters, and Steichen's scheme helped him be successful because Steichen doesn't want his quarterbacks back there for an eternity throwing the ball. So where Doug might try to counter a pass rush by getting into a deeper drop back or just putting his guy under center in a much deeper drop back to counter that, to give them more timing to get the routes downfield. What Shane Steichen and what Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni did was they decided to speed things up, right? Speed things up for the quarterback, like shorter route progressions. Work in a deep route, but make sure you have those shorter dump off things there. Number 12, Phillip Rivers. So, Nick Sirianni, Phillip Rivers was 12th in the league with pressure. He was 75 out of 123 guys, so 75 on-target throws to 123 attempts. It's worked its way out to about 60.9% or a 61% on-target to attempt ratio. Pretty good. He had 6 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. That's a little mediocre, to be honest. But I think some of that has to do with, a failing kind of arm for Phillip Rivers. I don't think his arm is the same anymore. And he ended up passing for 991 yards, so just under 1,000 yards. I think the future is going to get better in terms of pressure. I don't think teams are going to be able to control us the same way they've been able to before by just bringing pressure on us, right? Some of this had to do with our line guys. Our line was a crapshoot, and they were just like, we're going to send the house, right? We're going to keep blitzing you until this line shows it can pick up blitz packages, that it can communicate between one another and stop us from blitzing, stop us from bringing pressure. I think that played a major role in it. And I think just by simply getting back members of the offensive line healthy, I think that is going to steer us in a more positive direction, no matter who is under center. But also, I think the scheme is going to help us, right? That these guys want to get the ball out of the hands of the quarterback faster. They're not going to be like Doug, who's calling more vertical concepts in his offense. I think there is going to be a change here. I'm not saying we'll never go vertical, guys, but it's not going to be to like what Doug was doing here. These are my thoughts on this, guys. But I want to know what do you guys think? Tell me about what you think about the pressure statistics now that you've heard them. Do you have concerns? Are you glad that we brought guys in here who are really, really keen on getting the ball out of the quarterback's hands first? And let me know your opinion here. So give me a 1 if you think this was majority on the quarterbacks here. Give me a 2 if you think that this was probably more so the offensive line and a lack of communication there and teams just bringing the blitz because of that. Give me a 3 if you think that this was more so due to Doug's scheme and the longer developing plays. And just because I know the right answer here, give me a 4 if you're just like, Gate, I see different percentages for the responsibility, but clearly it's all 3 put together. So if you give me a 4, tell me where you think that the majority of the problem still lied. So tell me like it's a 4, Steve, but it was the quarterbacks. It's a 4, Steve, but it was really the line. It was a 4, Steve, but the majority of this is on Doug because he didn't adjust to his quarterback's play and the deficiencies along the line. So let me know there, guys. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out of here.